Hey there, guys. Alright, today we are back with some more geography now, this time onto Liechtenstein. Before we dive in, make sure you go and check out the links in the description box below, specifically the Kickstarter. Go ahead and go and read the free prologue and 5 chapters that are provided there, and enjoy them. That's a threat. Um, Liechtenstein. 12-minute video? You know what they should have done? They should have jokingly made this the longest video, like an hour-long geography now, where they just detail Liechtenstein to that, just more so than any other country in this list, out of them all. Just have it stand out on its own as the longest one. That's what I would have done. I really don't know if there's that much, if you can, is there that much to talk about Liechtenstein? Like, I'm being serious, but also jokey. Like, I don't, like, sure, Liechtenstein has a history. Weren't they a fairly important piece of the Holy Roman Empire at one point in time? Um, I know there's like a, a Duke or Prince of Liechtenstein or something present in Kingdom Come Deliverance, like towards the end or something, I think. I haven't played that game in like over a year, over a year and a half, so I can't really remember. Let's dive in.
Guys, it's here. Some of you have been waiting for this episode for years. Sure, everybody knows about China, Brazil, Germany, and Australia, but how many of you know anything about Little Liechtenstein?
It's time to learn geography now!
Hey everybody, I'm your host Barbs. Okay, I actually had the incredible honor to not only go to this country with my mom last year, and we also got passport stamps, which by the way, Swiss geography peeps Herman and Fabian, thank you for driving and hosting us. But I also had the incredible honor of meeting one of the incredibly rare and few native-born Liechtensteiner geography peeps, Pascal. Dude, a real Liechtensteiner watches geography now. That's amazing. Meeting an actual native of Liechtenstein is like finding a unicorn in a haystack in the Saharan desert, and the desert is made of haystacks. Sorry, I'm just kind of gushing because come on, we're doing Little Liechtenstein today. Let's begin.
Bum, bum.
Now, if you don't know anything about Liechtenstein, the first thing you might need to know is that it is incredibly small, like the 6th smallest country in the world. And it's also rather difficult to get into in contrast to other European countries. First of all, classified as a microstate, the nation of Liechtenstein is located between Austria and Switzerland, taking up only 160.
Do they only have... They have like... Okay, they have like 1, 2, 3 cities slash towns. I see something here. This looks like a continuous line. Although this looks like its own thing, and then there's something here. And then they have something here. Maybe something here. I really want to visit. Like, Wait, did they mess... Oh, wait, I'm so stupid. I just... I was thinking of Luxembourg! I knew when I said Duke of Liechtenstein that it was wrong. No, it was the Duke of Luxembourg that was in, like, Kingdom Come Deliverance or something. I'm fucking... Oh my god, that's embarrassing. Uh... Anyways, moving on from that embarrassment, um, I'm not someone that likes to travel. I like to stay inside a lot. Um, but like countries like Liechtenstein or Luxembourg or like San Marino, these micronations, they're the nations I want to visit. I don't want to go to like Austria, or actually I do kind of want to go to Switzerland just because like um it looks beautiful. But like places like Austria, Germany, France, Britain, they don't really interest me. Britain interests me just because of the castles, but I could also just go to Liechtenstein, Switzerland for castles too. Um, but like if I were to go to Britain, I would only go to Wales. Fuck England.
62 square kilometers,
Anyways.
being only 25 kilometers long and 9.4 kilometers wide. It is also one of the only 2 doubly landlocked nations in the world, meaning that it's landlocked within other landlocked nations, the other one being Uzbekistan. The country is divided into 11 different municipalities with their own exclaves, with the capital Vaduz that has only about 5,200 people, located in the center of the
50? God damn.
country. Vaduz is actually the second largest town in the country, the first being Shan with about 500 more people.
The town I live in has more people than the 2 most populated towns of Liechtenstein combined. That's fucking weird, dude.
The country has no airports or seaports, but they do have a heliport at Balzers, but that's just like for tourist rides into the
Okay, so you land in like Austria and you take a drive over to Liechtenstein.
mountains, and they do have 4 train stations operated by an Austrian federal railway system, and the stations are only serviced on weekday peak hours. So getting in, you're much better off either taking a bus or car. To drive in,
Okay, never mind. Take the car.
You can take various bridge crossings from Switzerland, or you can come in from Feldkirch, Austria. There isn't any border patrol or passport checks. It's really easy. However, if you do want a passport stamp, you can get one at the tourism/post office in Vaduz for about €3. Worth it! The main number 28 road pretty much crosses the entire country north to south, as almost the entire country lives on the west side due to the high mountainous border to the east. The funny thing is, after World War II, Liechtenstein actually had a little land dispute with what is now Czechia over the castles and forests and agricultural land plots that were hereditary lands that belonged to the former monarchs. These lands altogether made up a land area over 10 times the size of Liechtenstein. However, when they brought it up, Czechia was like, so you want your old lands back, eh? Well, how about I give you the castles, but not the surrounding land areas? To which Liechtenstein was like... Finally, in 2009, they decided to drop the case and just let it go.
2009?
But I mean, whatever. They have like 8 other palaces in Austria and 1 in Italy. Otherwise, some places of interest might include the Prince's Castle in Vaduz, Malbun, which has a ski resort, the main square, the National Museum, the Postage Stamp Museum, the Schatzkammer Treasure Chamber, the Kunstmuseum, the Landtag or Parliament Building, and Balzer's Gothic Castle. All right, now let's take a look at those pristine Alps, shall we?
Bum, bum, bum.
For such a small country, Liechtenstein actually has a lot going on in terms of landscape. For one, the country is located on the upper Rhine Valley in the European Alps, along the longest river, the Rhine, that borders with Switzerland. The entire eastern side of Liechtenstein is mountainous, with the highest peak, Grauspitz, located on the southern border with Switzerland as well. Just up north, the largest and pretty much only real lake in the country, Grampener Zille, can be found, although it should be classified as a pond, but When it comes to resources, Liechtenstein isn't exactly top dog. I mean, there's a few cultivated fields in the south, but overall, not too many things to extract. Nonetheless, they do actually have some industries like textiles, pharmaceuticals, power tools like the company Hilti. Other companies are in the country like Nutric, ThyssenKrupp, Hoval, Hilkona. And also, Liechtenstein is the world's largest provider of false teeth, thanks to the company Evo Klar Vivident, accounting for 20% of sales worldwide, producing 60 million sets a year. It has something to do with the close relationship with Bollywood. Whatever, just look it up. It's funny though, because there's actually more registered companies and jobs in Liechtenstein than there are people, which is
That don't add up, man.
why over half the
The math ain't mathin'.
workforce has to travel into Liechtenstein from Switzerland or Austria. This means the country has the most exports per capita at around $122,000 per person.
Damn.
It wasn't always like this though. Before the 17th century, Liechtenstein was known for being the witch country with boring farmers. It wasn't until the beginning of the 20th century that Liechtenstein decided to change up fiscal policies and become a huge tax haven, especially for billionaires. But it's not like one of those blacklisted havens. It's a good one, okay? They do things right. Hey, we're just hustling, okay? Don't act like you don't too. Out of all the 7-ish trillion sheltered dollars worth in tax havens worldwide, Liechtenstein manages about 180 billion. In addition, they host nearly 74,000 letterbox companies which don't even really do anything, but they still get paid for. So that means the system kind of keeps Liechtensteiners abundantly employed, with about $5 million and 2 companies to look after per citizen. Yeah, kids, if
What the fuck?
you really want to get rich, don't seek after fame. Study business and finance with minors in accounting. Trust me, I'm a YouTuber. I know exactly what not to do. Oh yeah, the
Yeah, don't get a degree in history.
national animal is the kestrel. They even have a falconry center in Malbun. And some of the top notable dishes of Liechtenstein might include Kiskenupfle.
But legitimately, if you can handle it, like, mentally, like, you're fine with the mundane job, get into finance, because they pay good for basic shit. Like, if you want a comfortable life without really having to worry about money, fucking get into finance. Just major in finance. Just, yeah, it's, and I'm fairly certain not all aspects of finance are like this, but a good amount of them are pretty much you get a guaranteed job right out of college too. Like my buddy majored in business. I have a friend that majored in business logistics. Job straight out of, pretty much had job offers before he even graduated.
Which is like a variation of Käsespätzle, Riebel, Zurkies, Liechtenstein wine, and those crown-shaped chocolate things called... Oh geez, how do you pronounce this? Fürstenhütchen. Alright, now let's move on to the ones that make those dishes, the people of this country.
Bum, bum, bum.
Once upon a time, there was this thing called the Holy Roman Empire.
Never
It
heard
was
of
basically made up of like 1,800 territories that eventually meshed and melded into what is now parts of like 12 different countries in Europe.
His audio is quiet again. God.
Liechtenstein is basically the last surviving territory
Inconsistent.
of the Holy Roman Empire that never really coalesced into any other state. Partially because nobody really cared about it and it was too small to bother with. But who's laughing now? First of all, the country has nearly 38,000 people and is almost always ranked in the top 3 highest GDP per capita states in the world at nearly 180k per capita. The country is only about a third native Liechtensteiner, whereas the remaining populace is made up of foreigners, mostly Germans, Austrians, Swiss, and Italians. They use the Swiss
I'm about to be the one American.
franc as their currency, they use a Type J plug outlet, and they drive on the right side of the road.
Damn right they do, because it's the right side of the road. Hear that, Britain and all the other wrong countries? Fuck yeah, I'm not giving up on this stupid bit. I'm gonna keep going. This bit's lasting the entire series, motherfuckers.
Which, by the way, I hate the J plug outlet because half the time the sockets are sunk into these weird hexagon-shaped divots. Half the time I couldn't even fit my Type-C adapter plug when I was in Switzerland. Why? Why do you guys do that? That's like borderline sadistic, Switzerland and Liechtenstein. That and your prices for everything. Otherwise, I love everything else about you guys. Now, here's the thing. Liechtenstein is one of 4 countries in Europe.
What is with the different plugs? Like, why don't we just have a universal plug? I don't get it.
That speaks German. However, they speak with their own distinct dialect, very similar to the Swiss and Austrians. Obviously, it's a little different from Hochdeutsch, which is spoken up north in Germany. From what I was told, Liechtensteiners are known for saying hoi for hello and ciao for bye. Instead of Kuh for cow, they say Buschla. Instead of Hügel for hill, they say Böhe. This is what you guys told me, so yeah. Also, I was told that this is how you can tell all the Germanic-speaking countries apart. Let's say that you gained weight. This is how a friend from each country would respond. So how are you doing? Ah, I see you're enjoying your schnitzels, eh? You got fat. Now, like the Swiss, Liechtenstein has always kind of kept to themselves and stayed out of affairs. There's a legend that says that when they fought in the Austro-Prussian War, they came back with negative casualties, as in the army of 80 men came back with a friend. After that, the military was disbanded, and today all military affairs are handled by the Swiss army, even though they accidentally fired a shell and burned off a patch of their forest in the 80s and accidentally invaded in 2007, but, you know, they laughed over it with glasses of wine. Now, Liechtenstein is generally seen as being more conservative than other countries.
Oh, god damn it.
And more religious, mostly adhering to
Fucking shit. Never mind, I'm not going to Liechtenstein.
Catholicism with very strict stances on social issues like gay marriage, abortion, and
Yeah, I'm not going to Liechtenstein. Ew. Cringe.
immigration. In fact, less than 60 resident permits are issued every year for EEA citizens that work in Liechtenstein, half by lottery and half by government. Oh yeah, and the country is a monarchy, a principality to be exact. Essentially, the von Liechtenstein family, where the country gets its name from, are descended from Austrian noblemen related to the Habsburgs, and even though they get little publicity, they are literally the richest royals in Europe with a net worth of over $7.5 billion.
Hey, yo. Could I set my Tinder to fucking Liechtenstein? Do they have are one of the princesses, you know, around my age? I'm just thinking about it.
The current prince, Hans Adam II, being the owner of LGT Bank alone, having a personal fortune of about $4 billion. Yeah, by contrast, Queen Elizabeth has only about
She did.
500 million. The prince has 4 children and 15 grandchildren.
God damn. What?
Contrast, Queen Elizabeth has only about
Hold on, let's see
500
this
million.
huge
The
ass
prince has
family. Jesus Christ, that's a lot of children.
4 children and 15 grandchildren, Alois being the next in line to the throne. Oh, and his brother Maximilian married Angela Gisela Brown from Panama, who was the first person of known African ancestry to have married into a reigning European dynasty. The royal
You know what? That's pretty progressive of you, Liechtenstein. Fucking the English monarchy can't do that.
family is actually quite popular and loved by the people. They're very down to earth and they eat at cafes downtown in Vaduz.
Well, I mean, when there's only 38,000 people, I feel like that allows them to be more, you know, down to earth.
Regularly talking to the everyday citizens. Once a year, they even hold a party, which everyone is allowed to come to the castle and
I mean, 38,000 people. Yeah, not hard to fit.
share a beer. There is a bit of controversy though, because today they are the only monarchy in Europe in which the monarch has influence on every level of government. The prince can veto anything. In 2000,
I mean, again, with 38,000 people, I mean, yeah, it's not democratic, but like, also, like, if a form of government is working for a country, and then the people, like, here's the thing, like, by technicality, by the people not, like, Liechtenstein doesn't, like, if the people wanted to get rid of the monarch of Liechtenstein, they could. Liechtenstein doesn't have an army or a police force, right? That's all. Do they have a police force? Did they just? I can't remember what he said. But like, if the people really had a problem with it, they could get rid of it. So by technicality, he is ruling by consent of the governed because the people aren't unhappy. It's just our modern standards against monarchs with political power.
2012, they held a vote which kind of went like this. We want to take away your powers of exercising the option to veto bills. I mean, if you really don't want me around, I can
Wait a
just
minute.
leave and let you guys handle everything. Really? Yeah, I'll just take my $7.6 billion corporate interest and revenue deals outside of the state, but you know, you can sell postcards to the tourists. Wait, come back! And over 3/4 of the population voted to let him remain with his original duties.
Wait a minute, hold on. Because, again, it's fucking his audio, man.
Wait, come back! And over 3/4 of the population voted to let him remain with his original duties. Speaking of monarchy, history. We don't have a lot of time to go too far into it, but the quickest way I can summarize it. 2 small Holy Roman Empire earldoms of Vaduz and Schellenberg. 1969, this guy comes along. 1712, he purchases both Vaduz and Schellenberg, hence joining the two together, making the country complete. The Napoleon years, but the prince is like a respected military leader, so they remain independent. 19th century, joins German Confederation, although Austria gets left out, which geographically separates Liechtenstein from Germany. World War I, breaks ties with Austria-Hungary. 1938, Prince moves back in from Vienna. World War II, after Austria is annexed, they are literally on the Nazi border, but Hitler was like, not worth it, and left them alone. They stay neutral and independent. Post-World War II, economic boom. All the banks, fiduciaries, and engineers come in. Czechia dispute. 1984, women are allowed to vote. The last European country to do so. 1995, they joined the EEA. And here we are today. Oh, and Liechtenstein has like one of the lowest crime rates in the world. Prisons are often empty, and anyone with a sentence over 2 years is actually sent to Austria. It's been said that people typically don't even lock their front doors. With such a small population, everyone kind of knows everyone and has a close tie. Nonetheless, they still reach out and make friends abroad. Which brings us to... Now, it doesn't really matter how small your country is, if you're able to handle your
It's not the size that matters, it's the motion of the ocean.
country's overall economic output with a content populace, holding on to sovereignty is a breeze, and so is making friends. Today, they have 6 embassy missions abroad in Austria, Belgium, Germany, Switzerland, and the Vatican, and the United States. However, Switzerland is authorized to represent Liechtenstein in other diplomatic situations unless they decide to send their own delegates. Liechtenstein is interesting because they don't host any embassies in their territory, but rather 32 honorary consuls, surprisingly 3 of which are the African states of Chad, Senegal, and the Central African Republic, whom have reached out and made close ties for decades. They are not part of the European Union, but rather part of the Schengen area, which means they have open borders and visa policies with the EU, and also as a member of the EEA, they have free movement of goods and persons and services as well. But yeah, not part of the EU. Austria and Germany have always been close friends, especially the southern Bavarian and Baden-Württemberg states of Germany. These two make up some of the largest business partners and foreign population living in Liechtenstein, which is barely even much of a distinction since they are all Germanic brothers to begin with. In early years, most of the monarchs actually chose to live in Austria rather than their own country until 1938 when Franz Josef was like, we're moving back in, folks. When it comes to their best friends, however, most Liechtensteiners might say the Swiss. They share everything: a customs union, a monetary union, military coverage, diplomatic delegates. They even speak relatively the same dialect and have similar mannerisms and culture cues. It's often said that Switzerland sees Liechtenstein as its little yet surprisingly richer brother. I mean, they literally were totally cool with it when they got accidentally attacked. What more do you need to know? In conclusion, Liechtenstein is kind of like a high-capacity storage microchip. Small, yet absolutely flooding with abundance, neatly tucked away in a small space hidden away from the public eye. Stay tuned. The second creepy Baltic twin, Lithuania, is coming up next.
And that was Geography Now, Liechtenstein. This was a good episode. I enjoyed this one. I thought it was actually really well paced. Still would have been funny if they did like a ridiculously long episode for Liechtenstein just for the bit. But for 11 minutes and 55 seconds, I feel like this is perhaps one of the better, if not, this is definitely, I think, top 10 best paced Geography Now videos. Just going off the top of my head here, I may even wager to say top 5, but I don't want to say that because I can't really remember too many. I hope you guys enjoyed. Remember to hit that like button and subscribe for more, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.